What's the most mind-blowing way our ancestors kept track of time without watches? The answer might surprise you, so stick around to the end to find out.
Aha, Doodles!
Let's start with the earliest forms of timekeeping. Using sundials and shadow sticks, our ancestors could divide the day into rough chunks. In ancient Egypt, they used obelisks to cast shadows and tell time. And in Babylon, they created elaborate sundials with intricate carvings. It's crazy to think that these ancient timekeeping methods were the foundation for modern time-telling. And the best part is, these ancient methods are still used today in some parts of the world. In Japan, for example, the 8th century temple of Todaiji features a magnificent water clock, where they measure time by the flow of water, kind of like a really slow hourglass. The ancient Greeks used water clocks to schedule their Olympic Games, talk about being on time. While the Romans used hourglasses to measure time at sea, because who needs a deadline when you're sailing? But what's really fascinating is how these ancient timekeeping methods influenced modern time-telling. From sundials to water clocks, it's crazy to see how far we've come. Now, imagine living in ancient China, where timekeeping was an art form. They used candle clocks, which were basically just candles with markings on them. The markings indicated different intervals of time, like the burning of a certain amount of wax. And then there were incense clocks, which worked in a similar way, but with incense sticks. These ancient timekeeping methods might seem primitive, but they were actually pretty accurate. I mean, who needs a smartwatch when you have a candle and some incense, right? But what's really interesting is how these ancient methods influenced the development of modern timekeeping. So, the next time you glance at your watch, remember the ancient Chinese who paved the way for modern time-telling. You're probably familiar with the concept of astronomical timekeeping, where ancient civilizations used the sun, moon, and stars to keep track of time. The ancient Babylonians, for instance, developed a sexagesimal system that's still used today in our clocks and calendars. But have you ever wondered how they actually measured the passage of time using celestial bodies? They observed the lunar cycle, which is about 29.5 days, and divided it into phases, creating the first lunar calendars. The ancient Greeks, on the other hand, used astronomical observations to develop the Metonic cycle, a 19-year cycle that's still used today in some calendars. And let's not forget the astrolabe, an ancient device that measured the position of the stars and planets, kind of like an ancient GPS system, but way cooler. These ancient methods of timekeeping may seem primitive, but they paved the way for modern astronomy and our understanding of the universe. So, the next time you gaze up at the stars, remember the ancient civilizations that used them to keep track of time, and appreciate the ingenuity and curiosity that drove them to explore the universe. You're still gazing up at those stars, and now you're wondering how people started keeping track of time more accurately. Well, it all started with the invention of mechanical clocks in medieval Europe. These clocks used a series of gears and weights to measure time, and they were a game changer. I mean, can you imagine having to synchronize your schedule with the town's clock tower, only to find out it's running a bit behind? But then came the pendulum clocks, which were even more accurate and reliable. And with the standardization of time, people could finally coordinate their schedules with precision. It's amazing to think about how these innovations changed the way people lived and worked. And it's all thanks to the ingenuity and curiosity of our ancestors, who kept pushing the boundaries of timekeeping. Fast forward to the impact of timekeeping on daily life. It's crazy to think that before timekeeping, people didn't have a concept of punctuality. But with the development of timekeeping technologies, social schedules became a thing. And work hours became more organized, with people actually showing up on time. It's mind-blowing to think about how timekeeping changed the game for industries like transportation and trade. And it's not just about work. Timekeeping also affected our personal lives and relationships. So the next time you're running late, just remember, timekeeping is the reason you can even be late in the first place. You're running late, but ancient civilizations had ingenious ways to keep track of time without watches. They used sundials, water clocks, and even astronomical observations to coordinate their daily activities. The ancient Babylonians, for example, divided the day into 24 equal periods, similar to our modern clock. But what's really cool is that these ancient timekeeping methods were so accurate that they allowed for complex societies to flourish. So, the answer to the question is that people managed to keep track of time before watches by using a combination of these clever methods. And that's the fascinating story of how timekeeping evolved, allowing us to be late, or on time, in the first place.